Hello and welcome to the show. This is another game of Cops and Bothers. We are your hosts, Benji and Murph. We are two former cops who cover gaming topic, pet peeves, modern issues, and emails that you send in. Life is short and stubborn, like us, so allow us to arrest your attention, steal some of your time, and book your emails into our show. If you have something you'd like to share with us, whether it's a pet peeve, hilarious story, or something else, send us an email at copsandbothers@gmail.com. We're great listeners, and so are you.
Yes, they are. How are you doing today, Murph?
My body hates me.
I like how you sniffled and then replied.
It's not just that. I have also been awake since 10:30 a.m. yesterday.
May I ask why?
My body hates me. I could not sleep for the life of me, and I was like, "Oh, fuck it."
So is that more like a seasonal allergies, or is that more of a karmatic retribution kind of thing?
I think it's both. I always get allergies like in the spring and fall because, nature also hates me. But I have my windows open because it was hot, but I was cold. So I have to sleep in a cold room.
Same.
So I think that probably has something to do
That's
with
fair.
it. So if I sound, super nasally like your fourth grade teacher or like the lady in Monsters Inc., that's
Mike
why.
Wazowski.
Yeah.
So maybe this will make you feel a little bit better. I don't know if you've noticed, but we've had quite the following recently on Facebook and Anchor, actually.
I have noticed, for all of you that would have no way of knowing this, and if you do know this, then I am slightly concerned yet not necessarily offended. We've been messaging each other every time someone comments on our Facebook page or we get a new like or a new follow, and I scream like a little girl. When I say me, I mean Benji.
It's really nice to see the support grow when it's something in support of something that you're passionate about. And for us, it's this podcast. Like we mentioned in episode 1, Purpose and Migraines, we're not looking to turn this into a massive business venture or second job or anything of the sort. We do this because it's something we're passionate about, and to see the amount of support that came out of it was really nice. I actually had a coworker of mine, he knows who he is, come up to me at work because apparently he had listened to the podcast. The word travels fast, apparently. And he comes up to me with a big smile on his face. I was like, it was that smile that if life had subtitles, I could tell what the smile meant. So I was like, why do I feel like this is something that happened within the past few days? And he comes up to me and he's like, so you don't like smokers, huh? I was like, that is not what I said. I specifically said I hate smoking. I don't have a problem if somebody's smoking. I know it's hard to quit. It's the smoking itself or people who tried to tell me that vaping is either equally as bad or that smoking isn't bad. It's one of those ignorant kind of standpoints is where it's kind of like, meh. But no, if you smoke, if you're listening to this and you smoke, I have nothing against that. I know because my father actually had a hard time quitting. I know it's not easy. It's really not. But
Yeah, and I know we've stated before we're going to stay away from politics because it's a very thin line, but I just have to say, I'm not going to mention any names, but you are smart people. You can do your research. The governor of Massachusetts is an asshole.
now, Murph, why would you say he's an asshole?
Because he banned vaping for 4 months. And at first, I'm not gonna lie, I was just upset because it was going to affect, you know, all the people who vape, so like me. But then I started thinking about one of the workers at the vape store I go to. He's extremely nice, has the best deals around. I literally travel 45 minutes just to go to only him. And he also runs the tobacco store. However, the majority of their products is vape related. Coils, mods, tanks, juice, things like that, and they're not allowed to sell any of it.
Ugh.
And if how many businesses is that shutting down? And he's also losing revenue because I know so many people who are going to a different state and doing it. And jokes on you, I know a lot of people who are ordering it from a friend and then having it sent to them discreetly.
Well, see, and that really doesn't help the whole issue that it was in the first place, because the issue in the first place was the stuff off the black market. And that's the exact same argument when it comes to the whole.
Gun control?
Yeah, and I think we're just going to leave it at that to avoid politics. What I will say, though, is this shit is not lit. I will definitely say whatever policies he's put in place due to a lack of research on his end is 100% not on fleek. Just throwing that out there. Hey, I'm
Okay,
using my ironically, I promise.
so two things. One, my skin just crawled with the fact that you said that.
I don't
And
care.
two, and two, have you ever been in the situation that you'll say, "Oh yeah, that's lit fam," as a joke to make fun of the little, like, twats that say it, and then and then you end up, like, using it in your fucking daily vocabulary out of habit, and then it makes you hate yourself more at night?
You just
Just me?
you're at work. You're like, I'll be right back. I have to go to the bathroom. Go in the restroom. You look in. You do that white guy meme. Why are you like this? No, there's a bunch of really dumb words I use on the daily that I definitely use ironically. Like, honestly, I don't think I've used those couple words I just used in a minute. I mean, what there's a lit, fleek, fam. Uh, what else is there? I know there is a plethora
Oh,
out there.
I try to stay away from it
Turnt,
for the simple fact of, oh god, that was the one of the worst ones. I can't
tutlet,
slay.
slay queen,
That one
slay.
aggravates me.
Well, like, okay, be honest. Have you fallen victim to accidentally indoctrinating them into your vernacular?
Not to the point that I use it like every day, but there were times that I'd be playing GTA with you, or I'd be talking with someone, and I'd be like, "Yep, that's lit, bro."
Well, it doesn't help that a majority of the people we play online with are a lot younger than we are.
True, true.
So, I mean, granted, they're above the age they're supposed to be playing the games we play. What did you just shatter on your body that made you make that face?
My wrist, I went to just like flicker the wrist. No, I
When you
went to
flick it
just
on it.
pop it, and it was supposed to go like like, but no, it was like, and it like echoed through my entire arm, and now it's all y'all can't see this, but now it's all
She's
like,
got
eh.
she's got what I can only describe as a really bad case of
Limpers.
limperist. She's doctor. I seem to have this problem. I have a flaccid hand. Oh, let me just get some lab results and hear back from the doctor a week later. It appears you have a severe case of limperist.
I'm sorry, sir. I flickered the wrist too much.
You too much at the flick of the wrist. No, and your doctor will even tell you, hey, listen, it is not lit, fam. You need to stop flicking the wrist. And then he or she loses their medical license for using.
I'm s- I'm starting to hate this segment of our show.
Okay, real talk. You know what I think is actually really fun talk? Like, I say it, I'll be honest, I use it partially ironically, but it's easy for me to avoid at the same time. It's, I've only heard it referred to as Generation Z lingo.
Yes, I know exactly
Okay,
what
can
you're
I just
talking
give an
about.
example? Because it's a lot of fun to use.
I would say no, but you would do it anyway.
Wow, you're really good at reading minds. No, okay, so it's like, for example, somebody cuts me off in fucking traffic.
What is
I
it?
just, I glare,
We already covered that,
I
Benji.
just grit my teeth, I look at him, I could just be like, big mad.
I'm sorry, come again? Big mad?
I am big mad right now, and you look big
It sounds like,
confused.
because it sounds like something my 6-year-old would
Exactly.
say.
No, that's just it. I don't know. There's something playful and youthful and happy and just it's like it's not proper language. It's not proper English, which for the most part kind of aggravates me when people like shorthand texting, but or not just not checking their words before they hit send, or autocorrect is even like I don't know what the fuck is going on here.
Fuck some autocorrect.
We'll come back to that. But no, there's something about it. It's like wow, I am totally just big annoyed right now. I
Yeah.
actually had I was in a wedding recently, and I was on the way to it with a coworker slash one of their groomsmen slash best friend.
I know who it was. Congratulations.
Ironically enough, he was actually mentioned in the first episode.
Yes, you were, you special person, you.
Oh my god! And I would told him like, dude, just try it out. We're at a red light. I'm like, how would you describe waiting at this red light? And I could tell by the look in his face, he was like, I don't want to do this, but I'm going to. And he said it. He's like, it makes me big mad. And he just started laughing because it's such a stupid, dumb thing. I don't know why it's funny, but I've started indoctrinating it into my vernacular.
I think I'm more of, uh, I go more toward like stereo, or yeah, I guess we can go with stereotypical uh statements or like accents, so to speak. So if I'm talking to somebody and they're like, that offends me, I can automatically be like, oh my god, I'm like so sorry. Like,
See, you don't sound
I
very
don't
sorry.
know. But like it's like that, or like I know that, when I've been when I've been in a relationship or something like that, I'll play the "Why don't you love me enough?" Oh god, that hurt.
You put yourself
That
into
hurt
an
my little heart.
asthmatic attack.
But I'm more likely to do, or my biggest one that I say more than any time or anything else is "Yes."
I've actually done a spin off of that recently, and it's probably super obnoxious, so I'm not going to do it a lot for the
Do it.
podcast. So it's a new way of
Do it.
saying yes or a sense of confirmation. If somebody's like, wow, it's really warm out today, unless you're somebody who
Okay.
lives in a more southern state or in California, in which case it's always warm. Um, so it's more of a, it's used for either some type of a confirmation or in replace of the word yes. And it is, for example, Murphy, say something that we both agree on.
Um. God, there's so many things. I'm trying to pick which route to take.
Yes. Yes.
I love the geese, the YISS. It just makes me
Yes.
like you have to do the face with it. Like, are you really doing that? Yes.
Did you kill this man? Yes.
Perhaps.
There is a distinct possibility I may have murdered this man. Can you explain why? He was squatting in the left lane. I don't know what to tell you.
That really is a big pet peeve with you. Like it just keeps coming. Do you need to talk about it?
No, because last time I tried opening up to humans, I wound up with stab wounds on my back.
Oh, that's why I prefer animals.
Meow.
Bork bork.
Do you have a favorite dog?
This has been our podcast. I love all furry
That was
animals.
a stupid fucking question. I sorry. I almost said I sorry. Did you hear that? I'm not
I
editing
did.
that out. I sorry.
But I had no idea where I was going with that. See, this is what sleep will do to you kids.
I like I said, this is what sleep will do to you as you hold up a glass of wine.
It's delicious. Don't judge my life
I'm not
decisions.
judging your life decisions.
My family does it enough.
Hey, welcome home, baby killer. That's not what I do. You just
When are you gonna have another kid? When I'm ready. Oh, but you need to make them close together. Okay,
that's
listen,
what duct tape is
Susan.
for.
Just because you wanted to have all your little crotch goblins all under like a year time span does not mean I hate my life that much.
Well, you could always
No offense to people who do
you
that.
could always quickly change the subject. Like, oh shit, there's Billy Bob with his lifted truck, and then you can complain about
I
Jerry.
know a Billy Bob that has a lifted truck.
That's why I brought it up.
I do know a Billy Bob that has a
Is he
lifted
a good
truck.
guy?
Yeah, he kind of sounds like Boomhauer though.
Oh,
For the people
what?
who don't know him, yeah. I mean, I can understand him, but you remember the really big fella that we used to work with?
Which did his name start with a D?
Started with a started with an F. He was country as hell. We called him a country
Was he the
bumpkin.
one we asked to do the Hank Hill impressions? Yes, him.
Yes.
I remember him.
Yeah. Kind of sounds like that.
Oh, what? Fantastic. Makes me
Mhm.
happy. You know what doesn't make me happy though?
Um, a lot.
A lot. Well, that's fair. I, I would basically say anything that couldn't be classified as on fleek. What I think would be the best way to just
Oh god, can we please stop your lowering my IQ?
listen, fam. Listen. Just
Here we go.
no, listen, this shit's about to get turned. Alright? Keep it at 100.
Okay, if we're gonna keep this up, I'm gonna need more wine.
I mean, what you should do is pour a glass of wine, hand it to your boyfriend, and then take what's left in the bottle and be like, alright, I got a podcast to do. Benji is really grinding my gears.
Hey, just be happy it's not whiskey for once. Okay? Okay.
Good.
Speaking of whiskey,
Yes.
my my brother from another mother likes calling me a whiskey connoisseur.
I listen, as groomsmen we had flasks. I do not drink a whole lot of whiskey. So I figured, who do I know knows their whiskey? And I'm like, huh, I happen to know somebody from Kentucky. Hey, sister from another mister. I need a good recommendation for what? And then just like I didn't finish typing the message. She like read my mind and my thumb strokes on my digital keyboard, and she already answered. No, but she did give me a recommendation, and it was good. What was it? Crown Royal Vanilla? Yeah.
Mhm.
So no, that was actually really good. The groomsman who I had say Big Mad, he was also a big fan. So, for those of you who are looking to broaden your alcoholic horizons, Crown Royal Vanilla, it's smooth for whiskey if whiskey's not your thing. Because I, for one, actually can't drink beer. Something about the smell and taste of it, it actually makes me sick. And that
You don't like the hops
I
in it.
think that's what it is. It makes me sad. I can't drink beer. It makes me super super sad. But that's okay. I just you know go other routes. Hard ciders, hard liquor, anything hard. Phrasing that didn't happen. I didn't say that.
So
Those-
what you're saying is you
Oh,
prefer
don't say it.
things to go into your mouth that are hard?
No, I prefer.
Not flaccid, not soft,
No, I've
not
no
squishy.
because well, I mean, I prefer squishy candy, but as far as other things going in my mouth, flaccid doesn't do it. It doesn't have the same effect. Like you don't get as much out of it. Like it's not as voluminous. I prefer to find something with more of a girthy palate to it. So I know when I go to find something I can unwind with and enjoy my evening with, I go find something a nice stiff one, something with you know bold flavor. Penis.
Same, same.
I didn't know what other sexual innuendos to make. I was gonna make an erection joke.
Just
Can you pour me a stiff one? Just a big old tall glass of cocks on the rocks.
I hate when people say that. Like I've only seen it in like a movie or a show or something, but anytime I've ever heard that, my immediate thought is when like, "Can you pour me a stiff one?" The bartender just like puts the glass on the bar and then puts ice in it and then like flops his dick in it and just hands it to the person. That's what I imagine.
Can you get a stiff one?
Every time.
Hold on, let me change the channel on the TV real quick. Is this good?
Yep.
No, there's a couple hairs in it.
Would you like a salt or sugar rum?
Oh, that depends. Do you want something salty or you feeling a little sweet?
In my personal experience, it's generally
Oh, I know.
salty. Unless you eat a lot of fruit. So guys, eat a lot of fucking fruit.
Wait, so the pineapple thing is true?
Yeah. But it works for both it works both ways. So for females, if you eat like a lot of fruits, it also makes it sweeter.
We're adults. You can.
No, I was clearing my voice because I'm.
I thought you were taking an awkward, dramatic pause. I'm like, we're all adults, and hopefully our listeners are.
I mean, don't get me. I mean, it's not going to taste like you're eating a fucking apple pie, guys.
Have you heard that?
And if it, yes.
Have you heard that joke about the bartender with the apples?
Yes. But our listeners may have not, so please enlighten them or run their day. Or
fantastic. So, I know there's 3 examples given. I don't remember exactly what the second one is, so I can just interject it with something more original. So, okay, so this guy goes, and I'll try to speed it up because obviously we have other things we have to get to on the docket. Okay, so this guy walks into a bar. Isn't that like how most jokes start? So this guy walks into a bar and he goes up to the bartender and he's like, "Hey, can I get a rum and coke?" And he goes, "Sure thing." Takes an apple, puts it down on the bar. Patron takes one look at it, looks back up at the bartender, and he says, "That's an apple." Bartender goes, "Yep." He's like, "Guy asked for a rum and coke." Bartender's like, "Take a bite." Patron says, "Okay." So he takes a bite of the apple and he's like, "That's rum." Bartender says, "Flip it over." Takes another bite. He's like, "That's coke." "That's amazing. How'd you do that?" He's like, "Can't tell you." So they're sitting there, shooting the crap. And then a second guy comes in and he walks in and he sits down and he starts talking with the first guy. And first guy's like, "Dude, order something. This guy can get you a drink or anything with an apple." And he's like, "Yeah, right. Like, he can make it taste like anything." And he's like, "Yeah, whatever." Like, "Fine. How about a peanut butter and jelly sandwich?"
Ooh.
And the bartender picks up an apple, puts it down the counter. And the second guy's looking at it all skeptical, like, reasonably so. And the first guy, he's like, "Oh, dude, pick it up, take a bite." So he takes a bite. He's like, "Oh, that tastes like peanut butter. That's amazing." Bartender's like, "Flip it over." Takes a bite. "That's jelly. That's amazing." So the 3 of them are sitting there. They're shooting the crap. Or shooting the shit. This is an adult podcast. They're sitting there shooting the shit.
There you go.
No, sorry, autocorrect. They're sitting there shooting the shit. And a third guy comes in. And the other 2 guys are freaking out, like, dude, you gotta try one of this guy's apples." And he's like, "This is a bar. I'm confused. What the fuck's going on?" He's like, No. He could get you an apple that tastes like anything." He's like, "Anything, huh?" And they're like, "Dude, anything." So he's like, "All right, give me an apple that tastes like pussy." The bartender goes, "Okay." Takes an apple, puts it down the counter. He looks at the other guys, and they're like, "Dude, do it." So he picks up the apple, tastes the bite. He's like, "Ah, that tastes like shit." Bartender's like, "Flip it over." And now you've heard the bartender and the apple joke. Riddle, words. I'm sorry. That was enough of me talking. Let's talk about something else that'll get you going. Let's talk about one of your favorite things in the world. I'm just gonna say a word. I'm not gonna put it in question format. Microtransactions.
Ah. Yeah, so I know generally when we've talked about this, or maybe even if you're talking about it with, people that you're friends with, if you have friends. If you don't have friends, that's sad. Been there, done that.
Oh
I didn't
my
expect you to
God!
die.
I was trying to hold it in. I'm sorry.
If you don't have friends, it's sad.
I'm
And I
sorry.
mean that both in the sense of, well, that's really sad. And if you don't have friends, then there's probably a reason.
I mean, that's fair.
But anyway, so most people think about microtransactions in the sense of like a PS4 or a Xbox, but me and Benji were talking about it recently, and I think people forget about microtransactions for mobile games a lot. So there was one that I started playing the other day, and I don't remember the name of it, but it was one of the mystery games where you had to. I mean, it really was pointless, and it wasn't the best of games, but it was a mystery game, and you had to figure it out from via text, and it was interactive. It wasn't just like a read and I wonder what's going on, and you had to get this like little puzzle to move forward. And after the first 30 minutes, the game was really good. I was like, oh, maybe this will surprise me. But it's almost impossible to get anywhere in this particular game without buying more coins because of the puzzles. And so people will end up buying more coins using their actual money, and it's a scam. So yeah, the game might be free, but you're going to spend upwards of like $50 if you actually want to beat it. And if you don't have willpower and you have like no impulse control, then that's how you lose your money.
Okay, so I'm going to play devil's advocate for this segment. So, okay, so what about the people who state, well, I haven't paid a single cent into insert mobile game name here, and I'm on level 287.
Well, I mean, I've been there. I have. But generally, it's, at least in my experience, I started out being like, I'm not going to spend any money on this game. I'll just wait for my lives to rebuild or recharge or whatever. But then it gets to that really good point in the game, and you're like, I just want to know what happens next. You're like, oh, okay, it's just 99 cents. It'll just be this one time.
That's how they get you.
And that's how they get you. Oh, I'm going to get you.
Get you with my lobster claws. Yeah. It was a reference to one of our old coworkers.
I hope he hears this one day.
Oh my goodness. Hey, real quick, Bob,
No.
can you just go ahead and check out this shitty fucking podcast? We've referenced you. Don't worry, you'll hate it.
But like for me, the mobile games I generally like are like the time management games. And it's just because I'm really good at them and it gets me out of my reality for a little bit, which sucks most of the time.
Humans, that's fair.
Yeah. I mean, I have my good portions, I have my dog and I have my RJ and my close group of friends who are more like family. So that part's good, but everything else sucks.
That's fair.
But anyway,
That, and I happen to know the roads in your local area are not the best.
the people in my local area aren't the best. What? The people in the state aren't the best. Everybody. And I have to say, one of the things I do love about this state, I'm getting off on a tangent here, but I'll come back to the mobile game thing.
Microtransactions. Ticonderoga.
Is in Kentucky, everyone will always be nice to you. Like, it will be passive aggressive. So, for example, I'm sure some of you've heard bless your heart. That could mean two very different things based on how the person is saying it. If they're saying, oh, bless your heart, like they actually feel bad for you. But if they pause and look at you real funny and be like, bless your heart, they're saying, you poor sack of shit. Is what they're saying.
See, that's what I've heard. I've heard of that. It was on
It's
a Facebook
true.
post, so take it with a grain of salt.
Well, I'm from Kentucky, so I can attest to that. I don't know if it's everywhere else. I'm not sure it's everywhere in Kentucky, but it's a southern thing for sure. But in Massachusetts, people aren't going to be fake nice to you like they would in the South. So if a masshole is nice to you, it's generally genuine.
See, that's my thing. So, where I live now, people can't drive for shit, and their personalities are shit. But in Massachusetts,
That's just people in
it's
general.
fair. But in Massachusetts, it's like, yeah, they're massholes. But once they get out of the car, some of the nicest people I've ever met. It's the weirdest thing.
That's true. A lot of the people that we used to work with, for whatever reason, were mainly from the New England states. And, there's that constant, oh, I don't want to be a Yankee, and oh, you probably fuck your brother. So,
It happens.
I mean, you never know. But this is going on it's going real left. So let's bring it back.
Understandable.
Bad mama.
Understandable, though.
Bring it back.
You're good. I totally understand.
Did you see what I did?
I did. You smacked yourself. Excuse
Okay.
me.
But did you hear what I said?
I didn't. I was busy dying.
Okay, so we've got Disney Plus, and I've been watching a lot of them, so I was like, bad mama.
Oh! Oh my god, I love that movie.
Too. Okay, sorry. Anywho, so I prefer the time management games. So it's kind of like Diner Dash, things like that. And generally, they'll give you like the first like 10 or 15 levels for free, and then like, hey, you can buy the rest of the game for $10, or you can buy each level for so and so. I go in knowing that I'm going to buy these types of games because like I like a particular maker of it. It's called Game House. But in that sense, I understand it. Like ones I sort of have an issue with free to play, but then the creators almost make it near impossible for you to actually play and progress through the game without spending your own money. Just be upfront about it.
Yes, and have you played the Harry Potter Hogwarts Mystery mobile game?
I have not, but I've known people who have, and I know what the game consists.
It's not bad. But there's this one part, and I'm pretty sure anybody out there who's played it knows exactly what I'm talking about. The first time you need to wait for your energy to recharge takes place when you're stuck in the devil's snare. So it's like, you don't want to leave your poor character there in the devil's snare, but it's just where it's supposed to run out due to the amount of actions you have to do.
Yeah.
So that's yeah.
I mean, I don't know if a lot of people know about this. I've known about it for a little while because I get bored at work or I'll have some downtime. Facebook has like a little area for games and they have like tons of games and most of them are crap, but some of them are bad. And all of them have, oh, you can buy more coins or you can buy more power ups for this. That part I don't have an issue with. But like I said, it's when, if it's free to play, then it should be free to play or be like the Game House games who people who play it, you know that it's you're gonna have to pay for it. Like I don't like shady people. And to me that's very shady. Be upfront about the fact that you're going to be paying if you want to progress through this game. Don't get me hooked. Well, I guess I can play devil advocate on my own on that one. How is she gonna make your money needing hooked? So in that case it's smart. However, your smartness pisses me off.
That's fair. And again, devil's advocate, if you do look in either App Store or Google Play Store, it will say, this game contains microtransactions. And then you could also, like you said, they have to make their money somehow. So, I mean, again, I'm not trying to argue against you. I am not the biggest fan of microtransactions, but just bringing up these different points as far as devil's advocate goes. Furthermore, I will say microtransactions, I think where the line should be drawn would be, does this break the game? Does this give you a leg up in anything PvP related when it comes to online games, for example? Or does this allow you to fast track something that maybe somebody else isn't able to? I think that's where the line should be drawn. If there are microtransactions regarding anything aesthetic, I don't see the problem in a way. But if you're going to put something behind a paywall that'll give you a leg up or an advantage ahead of the competition, that's where I think it becomes a problem.
Yeah. I mean, when you were saying that, I was only thinking of like GTA. And I know there are certain mods out there that can make your supplies from whatever business you have replenish faster. I don't necessarily have an issue with that. I'll joke about it and say, oh, I'm sorry. I like doing my work. I'm not a lazy fuck. But I really like that doesn't bother me. What bothers me, and I think I've mentioned this in a past episode, is when it comes to like a PvP type of
Yes.
scenario. Like, you're playing a game, you know you're going to die.
Yes.
That's part of the fun. I know I'm one of those people. I like really difficult games, so so part of the fun of it is being so mad and raging because you keep fucking dying. You know the part where you can, like, almost like, say word for word the cutscene that happens before the boss fight?
Oh,
Yeah,
yep.
me. Me. So, I don't really have an issue with mods except when it comes to PvP scenarios. Anything else, I don't really care. You wanna make more money, get to buy all that stuff? Yeah, it'll annoy me, but I don't really have an issue with it as opposed to, I hope you step on a Lego and you have an itch you can't scratch and you always feel like you have to sneeze and there's a fucking hair in your mouth that you just can't ever get out if you're the type of person who uses mods to make you, like, in God mode or some shit like
Oh,
that.
see, mods is a whole nother just excuse me, whole nother thing. Here's my thing. If you have to hack or mod a video game to get a leg up on the competition, that means in the amount of time that you are on this earth, you are not able to better your skills in a PvP environment to make yourself better. So you have to resort to coding that has been altered to give you a leg up. And that to me is some of the, I mean, granted, yes, it's annoying, it's infuriating, it's frustrating, it's sad, it's pathetic, but at the same time, that is so incredibly pathetic. Like you within the confines of what is allotted to you through whatever game you're playing are not able to perform the basic PvP functions. And that to me is incredibly pathetic. Like I've always said, like, okay, if you're gonna hack something, like, hey, what are you in for? Oh, I violated the end user license agreement on a video game. Like, really? You you got in trouble for hacking that, and that's what you're in for? What about, oh, I hacked a bank security system? Like, go if you're gonna go out in a fucking blaze. Oh,
Yeah,
yeah,
go
go
big.
big or go home. And like, well, that's all they do is sit at home, and that's why we have these basement dwellers with neckbeards who take advantage of modded accounts
Your
or
mom?
yeah, that too. Yeah.
Mom, I'm all. Mom, I need your credit card.
More pizza
Mom, I need
rolls.
more pizza rolls. Can you make sure the cooler? I burnt my tongue last time. Everything's gonna taste like rubber for a month.
Yeah. And, like, my brain is weird, but I automatically when I hear microtransactions, I somehow always get back to mods because I kinda consider them more in the same even though they're all completely different. But, it kinda goes back to loot crates. Like,
Mm.
some loot crates aren't bad, you know? Like, I prefer the loot crates that are, based on your results as you're playing. I don't necessarily think it's and I'm gonna play devil's advocate after I say this. I don't necessarily think it's fair if your name is Chad and your dad owns this place and you can spend upwards of hundreds of dollars to get all these rare, loot crates and you get a better advantage on the competition. However, life isn't fair. So if you happen to be one of the people who, you just have money or you were born into money or your parents don't mind you racking up their credit card bills because they hate themselves anyway, and probably you. I'm just
No,
kidding.
they just throw money at their problems. One of them being their child. So you know what? Just throw money at it, keep it quiet. You know what? And we touched
Yeah.
on that the first episode. So
Yeah, so, like, life isn't fair. I'll play devil's advocate with that to do stuff like that, but that's just how fucking life is. However, this whole podcast is about us raving and ranting and bitching about things. So that's what I'm here doing.
side note, if anybody else has something they'd like to complain or rant or rave about, or something that maybe you're more familiar with that maybe gets a bad rap and you want to clear the air, well, please feel free to email us at copsandbothers@gmail.com and we would be more than happy to discuss it on the show. So,
Yes, or if you don't really want to take the time to write an email, we're also on Facebook and we get notifications a lot faster that way. At least I do. So if you don't want to take the time to email us, message us or write it on their page for everybody else to see. Hell, you might even start a conversation, and our entire episode can be just what you posted and all the debauchery that happens in the comment section, which,
Debauchery.
let's all be honest, the comment section is sometimes the greatest place to be, and it is the most entertaining thing. I love seeing people fight on Facebook because I don't do that, but I love watching it. I'm just there eating popcorn. I'm here
It's
for
a
the
fight of
show.
the ages. You got two of the most feeble-minded warriors on the planet. The keyboard warrior. Behind the safety of my screen and the lack of my knowledge, I bestow upon you a statement of ignorance. It's like, ooh, good
Yeah, and
fight.
don't get me wrong, like, social media is a really great
Yes.
thing, and you should be able to take to it. I mean, it's your fucking right.
Yes.
If you wanna bitch about how Tiffany at Starbucks didn't put enough whipped cream in your soy latte and how you don't Sorry.
No, please keep going. I'm amused.
But by all means have it. But also, you know, it's somewhat refreshing seeing somebody post about something that is, actually I don't know if this would be the correct term, but to keep the podcast going, uh,
Well, no, it's a matter of
worthy?
wordy. Well,
Not wordy
oh, I think
worthy.
I said wordy. I'm
Like,
like,
not
this isn't an essay.
no. No, like, what it's refreshing, and I don't see it enough, but I really like a healthy
Yes.
debate where they're not attacking the person. They'll be like, "Well, this is why I don't agree with it, and, here's examples, not you're wrong because I think you're wrong, so it means you're wrong. You're tacky and I hate you." Like
Like, okay, so there's a difference between an argument and a debate. An argument is where both parties are in an unhealthy state of mind and there needs to be a victor. A debate is where you can go at it from a neutral state of mind, or maybe you're in a good mood for both parties, and you approach said debate with factual information backed up with credible resources, and you quote unquote battle it out there, and there's no bad blood. That's the difference.
Yeah. So, I mean, I'm just one of the people who I'm open to being able to change my mind about anything. It doesn't mean I'm not strong in my beliefs or whatever. However, I'm open to having my mind changed about it because you never know.
Yeah,
Like you
that's
could,
yeah, that's fair.
but I mean that's just me. Most of society sucks.
Yeah, well, okay, society sucks for a lot of different reasons, but I think a major contributing factor could even date back to, um, we'll just call it the Dark Ages because that's what it was called. And in saying that, I believe that people who are either religious or spiritual, I think it's good to have some form of grounding wire, so to speak. I'm using air quotes here, grounding wire. And as long as it's being utilized correctly, and when I say that, and again, this is all opinions, but if you're having a bad day or you're having just like life is not giving you a break, all these houses you keep applying for, all these cars you keep trying to apply for, just keep following through, and you're like, you know what, I'm going to stand strong, I'm going to keep going, everything happens for a reason, putting my faith in the Lord above, or you know, I'm pagan, or I'm Buddhist, I'm Baptist, I'm Catholic, I'm Seventh-day Adventist, I'm Pentecostal, I'm Christian, I'm this, that, or the other thing. That's fine. But I think where the issue is in today's society, because I honestly don't think that religion in and of itself is the problem. I think it's the extremists or the corruption within that causes the issues. Because you have this whole issue where I don't know if you've heard of a super church before.
I have.
That's where I think it's a problem. Like that, come on. That's there's no need, there's no fucking need for that. That is a blatant disregard for financial responsibility, and I honestly feel like they're taking advantage of the people who go there in the name of religion.
Yeah. Yeah, I agree. Like, I think there's a big difference between religion and spirituality.
Yes.
And this is just my opinion, and it very well could be, unpopular. I think religion is bad. I don't I think it takes away from the spirituality of it because people need to believe in something, whether it's, God or, their particular God or just something that's bigger than themselves. Just that, maybe there's someone, in the cosmic universe that's looking out for us. And I get that, because a lot of people, I'm not religious per se. I kind of designate myself as being agnostic.
Yes.
Do I believe there's possibly something? Yes. But do I believe in the typical sense that there's a guy that's above us and when you die you go to this special land and roads are paved with like gold and all that? No. And then there's some people who think you live, you die, and you're done. And there's people who believe that you get reincarnated. I think maybe I can kind of see that point. Do I really believe in it? No, but it's an interesting topic to talk about reincarnation.
Yes.
But I'm more the person that believes you kind of go to your own personal quote unquote heaven. But it's not a thin line. There's a very distinct line between spirituality, which is good, and religion, because religion has been known throughout space and time to cause wars,
Yes.
which to me is fucking
Yes,
stupid.
I think religion in and of itself, there was a whole issue with, again, back in the Dark Ages, Martin Luther, the separation of church and state, because it was corrupting people and the church was running things. That I don't think is the way to be. But since then, we've gotten to a part where religion is in two different facets of execution or deployment, and that there is the corrupt side of it, or the people who put their noses up to everybody else and be like, oh, you're going to hell unless you go to church. And then there's the other side of it where you have people who are still religious, but they don't try to cram it down your throat. And you can tell, like, it's like, no, they have fully embraced God or whoever they decide to worship or, uh, praise or whomever. So those kinds of people, I don't think there's an issue as long as it's not being forced on others, or if it's not, the church itself isn't being used to corrupt others for financial gain. As a disclaimer, like you said, like, I'm more agnostic than anything. Granted, I've been wearing a cross around my neck for the past 7 years, but I have my reasons. But I don't go to church. I don't own I do own a copy of Mein Kampf, but I don't own a copy of the Bible. I still have yet to finish reading it. It's actually good so far. But yes, definitely more agnostic than anything. But again, if it's executed correctly, if again, somebody's going through a hard time, or maybe you have a group of individuals and they're happy singing their hymns and they're having a grand old time in church and there's no financial corruption or anything like that, and they truly believe in, you know, the Father, Son, and Holy Spirit up above, like, hey, you know what? Let them be happy. As long as they're not forcing it down other people's throats. It's
Yeah, and I'm
Oh
sorry,
no,
go
I was
ahead.
just gonna. I just had one last thought. It was and it's gone. Damn it! I'll remember it. Damn it!
But the same thing goes for the people who, are listeners. If you are religious, side note, if you're religious and you're listening to this, um, I think you may be sinning by association. Just saying. But nevertheless, we're glad to have you here. But if you are religious, and I know that there's people who automatically are like, oh my god, they're religious, they're wrong. And you guys kind of get persecuted in the sense of, or in the same sense as, how we were talking about people who's like, you're wrong for this, that, and the other. So it kind of goes both ways.
Like a bisexual.
Yeah. But I mean that at least with with me, like I agree with you. It as long as it's not extreme, and if it just helps that person, then who mind your own.
Exactly.
Like let them be happy. I mean, I'm like I said, I'm not religious, but there has been times admit it that it's just like, just please God, just don't let it happen. Don't let it go down this road. And like I said, I'm not religious, but it's something that we all kind of come back to.
Exactly. And I don't know if this is what I was going to say or not, but it was something I thought of. But, and this doesn't apply to everybody, but as a general statement, because again, you have the religious extremists, I guess would be the way to put it. Some of the nicest people I've ever met, and I'm sure people have seen this same exact sentiment on Facebook, some of the nicest people I've met have tattoos and piercings. Some of the nastiest one-sided two-faced motherfuckers that are almost impossible to trust go to church on Sundays. And that doesn't
Yeah.
apply to everybody. I mean, if you're offended by that, go fuck yourself. I don't care. I have the right to offend you just like you have the right to be offended. But it's any extremist. Like last episode, you mentioned feminist extremist. Well, it goes the same for anything. Anything extremist is not good. Like if you have somebody who's like, "Hey, you want to go to church with me on Sunday?" You look like you've been having a bad week, and you're like, "It's not really my thing." And they're like, "Okay, well, the invitation's there, um, but don't worry about it." That's different than, "Hey, you should come to church with me," and then obviously, for the sake of the argument, you say, "No, thank you, but I appreciate the offer. It's not really my thing." And they're like, "If you don't go, you're gonna go to hell when you die." Like, that's guilt tripping and almost like imposing something you believe in on somebody else. Like, fuck you. Who are you? Like, you're not God himself. You don't decide if I go to hell.
Yeah. So story time.
I love
When
stories.
I believe I think I was either a freshman or a sophomore, and my friend wanted me to come to church with her to do like drama. And initially that's what I only went for. I know that sounds really bad, but I ended up staying for a little bit because it wasn't so bad. I've never really been to, church before. But there was this one particular individual and he knew my home life, and for anybody who doesn't know, my mom is a lesbian and I had no issues with that even growing up. I would, my first fight was because I said I had two moms and I was in like 4th grade.
I don't think you've ever told me this.
Fun fact. Yeah. Um that's a story for another time. It's a short story, but they got their ass kicked.
Good.
I mean, granted, I was afraid to fight them at first 'cause I thought I'd be in trouble, but then my mom was like, "If you don't fight them, I'll fight you." So I fought them, and
Tough love.
yeah. So anyway, he knew that my mom was gay. My mom's rather, and he told our youth minister. And, they talked to me about it, and I always had the sense of, I don't agree with that. I just can't. I don't believe that my mom would go to hell just because she chose to love somebody of the same sex. That just doesn't make sense to me. He's supposed to be merciful and all that. I don't see him sending her to a fiery inferno. And it got to the point that they told me I needed to stand up in front of the congregation and pretty much say that my mom and mom's is going to hell because she's gay, or I would be going with her.
What the
And that
fuck?
was the last time I was ever in this church. Second fun fact, the guy who told my, youth minister that my parents were gay also turned out to be gay and be a drag queen.
That
So,
is a fan fucking tastic end to the story. That makes me so
yeah,
happy.
he's a fucking horrible drag queen, by the way. I love drag shows. Drag karaoke is by far my most favorite thing to do,
Drag karaoke
probably.
is a thing? What?
Yes, it's oh my god. If you
Please, please
It's
tell me one
fun.
of the shows you've been to. Please tell me this is a thing. One of them sang "Dude Looks Like a Lady" by Aerosmith.
Yes,
Oh,
there
that's
is, like, the
amazing.
very typical ones, like Born This Way and Do This
I was not
there's the
born
very
this
typical
way.
songs, but some of them are, like, they're really good. Some are just for humor, and some are generally really good, and I don't care who you are. There are some people who look, like, damn good as the opposite sex. Like, they would trick you. It makes you question your sexuality. I've met
Fuck, am I gay?
women
I
like
might be
that.
gay.
I Yeah. So but I went to one of his drag shows and he was horrible. He's an ugly
Oh
woman.
no.
Yeah, so I'm just and my mom always questioned because she thought he was gay, but I was like, "No, he hella
Like,
gay,
is he gay or
hella
is
gay,
he gay?
gay."
Quick disclaimer for our listeners. Murph and I both fully support gays, lesbians, trans, etc. So, if that's a problem for you, we're
Get the
fine
fuck
with this
away.
being your last episode. Just
Yeah,
throwing that
like
out there.
my like a lot of my family is lesbian,
A lot of my
and
good
like
coworkers are all lesbians.
yeah, and we'll get to this in another episode. But I sort of kind of think everybody's bi, but not in the sense that when I say
You
that,
have my attention. I can't wait for the next episode. Just like I hope our
yes.
listeners
So
can't wait for the next episode.
yes, so it's not in the typical sense of deems as bisexual. So I'll explain that in the next episode. But I fully support the LGBTQ plus community. Not when they go extreme, just like with everything else, but I support your rights,
And that's just it. Like,
and I will fight anybody who doesn't. They can eat a
if
bag
you're
of
not.
dicks, and not good dicks,
Okay, quick question. So, if
bad
you
dicks.
had to eat a bag of dicks, would you rather them be erect or flaccid? Because if they were erect, there'd be less dicks in there, but they'd be full of blood. But if they were flaccid, you wouldn't have the blood, but there'd be more dicks in there.
I mean, I and this is only from. I feel like it would be more awkward having a flaccid dick than a hard
I mean,
one.
that's fair. I mean,
And you didn't say I couldn't cook them.
shit, I should have put the fucking parameters and stipulations up front. My bad.
Aha, see?
Okay, so you have
Southern cooking
fried
tips is
cock. I'll go
big
to the alcohol aisle and find something stiff. Sound good? Awesome.
deal.
But yeah, my whole thing is if they're not forcing it upon you, or if they're not hurting anybody, and this kind of comes back full circle to last week's segment, but as long as they're both okay and it's like a consensual thing, who gives a flying fuck who or what they are
Yeah.
doing behind closed doors? Two dudes, two women, two trans people, who gives a flying fuck? If they're happy, that should not fucking bother you.
Yeah, or like there seems to be a big issue lately of being straight and being with a trans person. Okay, well they're not really straight. Okay, well it's really none of your Karen. Like who gives a fuck who they love or who they fuck? Let them have fun.
Karen.
I'm sorry, you're probably a prude. Fucking Karen. I'm sorry if you're listening and your name is Karen. I'm probably not talking about you.
Probably. Unless you have a problem with two people being in love and being happily married. Or miserably married.
Yeah. My adopted mom just got married to her wife in 2016.
What?
It was finally legalized in Kentucky.
Oh,
Yes.
that's amazing.
I was so happy. So yeah, if you don't support that, and I'm not just saying that because of my family, but or because of my friends are like gay or lesbian or whatever, then you can politely fucking leave our podcast and never
Yeah,
come back.
absolutely. I'm totally okay with that. But you know what other kind of support I really appreciate?
Support from our
Yes,
listeners.
absolutely. And
I'm a genius.
you are. I mean, we both have our moments. But you've dyed your hair, so you should be good. But we'll save
Yay.
that for another time. So, with that being said, this has been Benji and Murph on the Cops and Bothers podcast. It's a podcast for peeves, gaming, modern issues, and your emails. So, if you enjoyed the show, consider supporting us by sharing us with a friend, family, or coworker. If you have a story, or a pet peeve, or something else, feel free to email us at copsandbothers@gmail.com. We'll discuss it on the show. You can find us on anchor.fm/cops and bothers and many other listening platforms. You can also find us on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram.
Guess what? We're also on Spotify.
I love Spotify.
Yeah, it's way better than Apple Music.
She said it.
However you wish to follow, we're greatly appreciated. Also, a special shout out to Amohmusic, again, that's AMOH Music, on SoundCloud for letting us use his amazing song, Family. Go and show him some love, and as always, thank you for listening. We're looking forward to having you with us next time.
Absolutely. Catch you next week, everybody.
Bye, y'all.
my family.